Wigan versus Catalans preview show this evening. Tonight I'm joined by, on the far left of your screen, Mark Illingworth from Super League Pod. Good evening, Mark.
Hello, everyone.
And then in the middle, we've got David Bailey. David, are you well?
Yeah, good, thanks, Sean. Evening, everyone.
So we've got one face missing off the screen tonight, and I'm hoping that he doesn't appear on the screen at any point because he's on a works night out. So there's no raps tonight, and I don't think any of us have got a poem up our sleeves. But no doubt he'll be sat in a pub and he'll probably see this at some point. But let's have a quick catch up. Mark, Super League Pod. This week you had the gentleman who's a Coventry presenter, the Coventry ground announcer, and he was very hoarse after this weekend. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what people can expect on Super League Pod?
So we had quite a lot of a bird's eye view experience of what went on at Coventry in their biggest win in their history. Coventry are one of the good news stories around rugby league at the moment. So we had a good chat about that in the show. We talked about funding in the Championship, which kind of has reared its head a little bit again, hasn't it? Today we've got Beaumont pulling out of the league because of the lack of funding he's going to get now that they're not in the top four. And we picked our bottom four dream teams. So if you want to have a good laugh at who's not in the Super League, Super 8, we talked about a few Leeds players and Salford players and the sorts.
It is obviously the day today where it's pretty much transfer deadline day rugby league style, isn't it? It's like the most low-key, strangest transfer deadline day, I think. Like any sport.
It's actually deadline day on Friday, and today was meant to be like the big Super League, the big RFL annual meeting, and loads of things were supposed to get decided and agreed, or at least progressed on the real important issues. But all that we've really been focused on is which average player from Lee has been cast off to some Super League club or qualifiers club. It's just been a bonkers day. Hard to keep up with everything now. I'm sure as this chat goes on, we're going to have Lee are going to have sold another 3 players by the end of it. I'm pretty sure.
It just adds weight to the argument, though, doesn't it? The Ian Lenigan argument of what we've been trying to say. It's just not sustainable lower down. I mean, it's a massive conversation to go in, and Derek Beaumont, who was going to join us. I don't know if you were with me, Mark, when he was supposed to come onto the show, and he was in his car and he couldn't get on right at the start of the season. Obviously, there's lots of tweets that have sort of re-emerged from Derek Beaumont today as well about his sort of cockiness earlier on in his league career to sort of down to sort of humble ends, I guess, now in terms of the state of things that he's found himself.
They won the biggest game in the history against us in Super League, wasn't it? It felt like for them the biggest game in the history. I'd say probably the early 80s. They had some bigger games, but and a year on now, the crisis club.
Yeah, absolutely. David, last week, I guess we need to reflect on the St Helens game a little bit. I'm still confused, I think, by it. I still don't know what to make of it. What were your thoughts, sort of post Saints game? Was it I don't know. We didn't play well, but then we didn't get battered. Like, I don't know whether to look at the positives or the negatives from that.
Well, it was a bit underwhelming. I think is probably the word to go for on it. There's just we were expecting. I don't think any Wigan fans expecting a victory. Bear in mind their form, players we've got missing. So to keep them so close, and particularly the second half was pretty good going. But as a Wigan fan, you think really is competing with Saints and coming up just short. Is that acceptable? It's not really what you want to be aiming for, is it? I think Wigan TV had a bit of an interview yesterday. They had the Catalans preview with Sean Wayne, and he kind of let us know about John Bateman going by the look of it. Saying that it was his last game and Sam's and Batty's. So even though it's the worst kept secret in the game, but just we'll get another crack at Saints. Obviously we've got the Super 8, so I'm sure we'll be in the top 4 as well. So there'll be potentially another crack at them either on the way or at getting to Old Trafford or there itself. So, and I'm pretty confident we won't turn in such an inept performance next time. And we've got players back. You look at O'Loughlin missing, you look at Williams missing. Sure, they didn't have Barber playing, but we'll have another go. And it's 80 minutes now, isn't it? Effectively, once you've got your top 4 place secured.
I'm just putting Matt's comment on there just to try and throw everybody off. Just hi, Matt. Any random comments from him, we'll just put them on there.
Why has the cartoon he's got us his profile picture got so much makeup on? Why has he got lipstick and blusher on the picture?
I couldn't possibly comment about that. Yeah, Matt, have a good night wherever you are in the world. Mark, your reaction to the Saints game. I think what David just said there is this is a bigger issue about the structure of the game as well, isn't it? We're basically, albeit, we're 80 minutes away from a grand final. That's the strangest thing, and we're in July. We've got to really mess it up to not be 80 minutes away from a grand final. It's just bonkers.
But we've been the second best team all year, so like you'd have been 80 minutes away from a grand final in the previous structure before licensing as well at this stage almost. Because when they had the final eliminated, I think the first incarnation of the playoffs, it was similar-ish kind of mould, winning with the 5 teams. But after the game on Friday, I was nowhere near as gutted as I was after the Huddersfield game, which is weird to come away from a Saints game where we've lost and being unhappy about it, but not being completely gutted, just because I felt like all the players did give as much as they could. They just, for whatever reason, their attack was
we were just
really
a bit blunt, weren't we?
And we couldn't make any sort of breaks or anything like that. But there wasn't a player on there who I didn't think gave us much of a shift as they could. Even the players that I thought performed maybe under par, they're probably Tao is a player that stands out as one who made a few mistakes. But even the fact that after he took that big hit, the first thing he wanted to do was take the next carry. I mean, it was stupid. Yeah. He shouldn't have taken the next carry. He was totally knocked out and was nowhere should have been near that ball. But even the fact that he did that just shows the enthusiasm and effort in the team. But at the end of the day, it's gutting in it to watch us be so far off the pace in attack. Like David's saying, it doesn't feel right. But we're going to beat him again. We've got chances.
I think Matt's commenting on here, but just to pick up on what Matt said actually at the weekend when I was talking to him after the Saints game, it felt like, and I hate to use this because I remember Vincent Kompany using it when Manchester United beat Man City in the FA Cup, but they got almost like a moral victory. It was one of those where if you're a Saints fan, you're delighted. If you're a Wigan fan, you're not too disappointed, I guess. I think that's probably the way to get. You're probably relieved with the amount of players that we've had out injured that we didn't get absolutely battered. We were close on the scoreline, but we just seemed to go in attack to sort of plan Z.
Do you know what? Our attack was probably better than it was the week before, and the effort was probably better than it was the week before. And being sat at Huddersfield, we were crap. We were just so crap that day that anything where there was more effort was going to be better than that, and we at least had that, I think.
Stuart's just put on here about Hankinson. That's my next question, I guess, for you, David. Is how did you think he went for a guy who's playing bottom of the Championship? Was supposed to be rewiring the Arndale Centre at the weekend. And to be thrown into a Saints Wigan derby, did pretty well.
Yeah, pretty much a fairy tale for him, wasn't it? Really, apart from the result, he didn't do any. He didn't make any mistakes. He didn't look out of place, which was refreshing to see. It's one of those. I think it's low risk. I think we've got him on an 18-month contract. As you've said already, we're already pretty much assured of a semi-final shot anyway. So I think for the next few weeks, it's kind of a free hit for him to get to know the teammates. That's the other thing you've got to remember. I think he must have only had 2 or 3 or 4 training sessions with the team as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
To get thrown in and against the form team and up against Saints, who've had the form centres this season. You can't be anything but pleased for the lad. And he's 24, so he's not like QLT at Castleford, where he's sort of a journeyman. He's been there for 10, 15 years and not managed to get the breaks. He's still young enough to make an impression. And centre's a problem position around the league, isn't it? You look around and there's not many outstanding centres about. You look at probably Gildart, Percival. You look at then Watkins at Leeds.
Tupu and Lynn this year.
Yeah, but
centres are almost a secondary position though now, isn't it? Nobody really wants to be a centre. They end up as a centre.
And yeah, exactly. And you get second rows filling in left, right, and centre. Left, right, and centre at centres as well. So, so if it works out, at the end of the day, we're going for the end of this season. If he's not performing towards, the push for the grand final, then we're likely to go with Bateman and Gildart, or Sargison and Gildart. So it's not like we desperately need him to be firing on all cylinders. But if he does, it's a bonus. And then ultimately, if the new coach, whoever that might be, comes in and doesn't fancy him, it's only a 12-month contract anyway next season. So it's pretty much a no-brainer for Wigan. I'm sure he's not coming on huge amounts of money either, so he's not taking up much salary cap space. So I hope he does well. I hope it would be great if we could have two reasonably young British centres in the team next season. Sargent is getting on a bit, but he's just, again, like most players that go to Oz and come back, they just don't seem to have that same impact when they return for whatever reason at Wigan.
The thing that pleases me most, I think, about the Chris Hankinson deal is the way that Wigan actually did it. They didn't try and screw over the feeder club like Leeds have been doing, and the fact that he wasn't in both squads last weekend as well, sums it up. I think they've done everything above board. They sent obviously a few players there. Matt, go to the bar. I reckon Navarrete will make a decent centre. Of course he would.
Sean, were you impressed by his fitness? Like, he seemed to stay the course. He put in a great covering sort of tackle on Hankinson, who was phenomenal for Saints. He put a great tackle on him mid towards the end of the second half, sort of thing. Were you impressed by that? I was
impressed with him full stop. I think the only thing that he's lacking is a link-up player with the players around him, which, as David said, he's had, 2 training sessions by then. I think he threatened when he had the ball. He looks like he doesn't mind taking the line on. Defensively, you didn't notice him in terms of making errors, so I think that's always a good sign defensively if you don't notice them almost. And he seemed to get on with his job. I think the only thing that people, picked up on was the absolute rollicking that he got for his poor dummy half pass to Sam Tompkins on the last tackle. But apart from that, you're sort of splitting hairs if that's the thing that you're picking out about a debut in such going from playing part time to that in a dark. That's some turnaround, and hopefully he'll enjoy Friday night with a little bit less pressure on, a bit more time to settle in. Mark, do you want to sort of talk us through your thoughts on, obviously Catalans coming into this game have made a lot of changes. They've even rolled out Ian Thornley for this game. He's going to get a game, and Jody Broughton. So they're making lots of changes. I think they've only lost 1 game in the last 11. They're a resurgent side, but are we expecting them to be, competitive on Friday is probably the word with so many changes?
Their resurgence has been based mainly around the form, I'd say, of 3 players in particular. Maybe 4 if you throw Greg Bird in there, to be fair to him. But Casti, Drinkwater and McAlorum. Now, McAlorum has started to show some form that I've not seen from him for 5 years or more. Drinkwater has just absolutely changed the way that the team was organised. It meant that some of their flashier players like Mead and Gigo and Willie Army could do more. And Casti's been, over the last 2 months, as good a forward as has been in Super League. Now, 2 of those 3 players are out, aren't they? That I just mentioned from the squad. David Mead's out of the squad. Ben Garcia's out of the squad. Now, Ben Garcia's been filling in hooker. They've got Alrix Acosta, who looks like he's going to do that. So they're very much weakened from the best sides that they've been putting out recently. So that's a positive for us. And we also don't want to injure any of the players in this week's game that are key players like McAlorum and Bird and Willie Army that are playing. So hopefully that some of those guys don't get arrested. We don't want to wind any of them up too much or get them earning suspensions, because let's face it, we're back in Catalans the week after. So really, we want this to be a steady away game for everyone, and they just calmly go through the game, let us beat them to 0 like we normally do at the DW, and let all them players come through unscathed that they haven't rested, because they've got a big game the week after.
I just imagine that McNamara, who has his fair few critics, doesn't he? But the fact that he's actually turned this around, I think he should be applauded for that, because I think they've got a real chance the week after against St Helens, absolutely no doubt about it. But you can just imagine the conversation that he had with Michael McAlorum, just saying, "Look, I want to rest everybody, and you're one of the players that I want to rest." And all of a sudden, he's still in the 19-man squad. There was no way that McAlorum was going to miss this game, and you can just imagine McAlorum just doing something stupid and getting sent off and sort of missing the semi-final, just to, if there was somebody that he didn't like in the Wigan changing room, or the battle between McAlorum and Luluai is going to be interesting.
It'll be the people he does like. Watch him and Flowers are going to absolutely smack each other. Him and Bateman are going to absolutely smack each other, and I hope neither of them injure McAlorum, because Catalans did him the week after. But they were like, he was good mates with those 2 players from what I've seen on social media and that sort of stuff, and heard in interviews. And so he's going to smack those blokes. So that's what he does.
David, what are you expecting on Friday? Obviously, Wigan not really made too many changes. There was the the thought, I guess, in that interview that you were alluding to with Sean Wayne, that George Williams may come back in. He's not in the 19-man squad, but as the guys from Red VTV mentioned last week, Sean Wayne and 19-man squads don't necessarily mean too much at certain times in the season. And O'Loughlin's close as well, but again, not in the squad. So I would say we've probably got a 21-man squad with Williams and O'Loughlin possibly in there. Do you expect a comfortable Wigan victory? I think the last time Catalans won at the DW was 2011, so we've got a pretty good record against them at home.
Yeah, I think we've got a good record of them at Catalans as well, to be fair. We're kind of one of their bogey teams, probably. So, yeah, expecting is probably the wrong word to use this season, because you never know what's going to happen with Wigan. You never know which team's going to turn up. But yeah, I think Catalans will have one eye on the cup, and that'll be their primary target, because it's going to be difficult for anybody to sort of break into the top four, even in the Super 8. So that's going to be their main focus, I think, in trying to get to Wembley. Wigan just need to get some form, don't they? They just need to get a bit of gelling, just playing well. So
you say gelling? We need to get gelling.
No, well, yeah, couldn't be any worse than what we've got sometimes. But no, they just need to work well together, don't they? And just give the fans something to smile about, because I think it's been a bit of a roller coaster this season at times, and
It's been a very Wigan season, hasn't it?
Yeah, just it's not Wigan unless there's something going on, is it really? So, yeah, I'm expecting probably one of William, whichever one's the fittest. I would imagine Wayne might give him a run out, but again, I don't really know what mindset Wayne's in at the minute. It's been very quiet, and more rumours of unrest behind the scenes as well, and other departures potentially in the backroom staff. So, toss a coin. It could be whichever Wigan's going to turn up.
Which I think Ian alludes to there. He must be bringing his own fitness coach in. There was the rumour, which I think, David, you told me about today, is Mark Bitcon possibly leaving, Matty Peet possibly leaving. Again, they're all rumours, and I think they're probably natural rumours at this stage when you don't know who your coach is for next season. This is Gary's just asked the question, which we've got a topic here, Sean Edwards, which I'm going to pop on the screen, but Gary asked the question. So what do you guys make of Sean Edwards at the Saints game, taking notes, hidden away in the East Stand? I absolutely love that. The fact that he turned up on the day and was like, do you know what? He wasn't quite at the South Stand. He didn't fancy the unreserved seating, but he didn't want to pay too much, so he didn't go into the West Stand, and he didn't want to pull in a favour by getting a free ticket because he didn't want people to know. So he just got a random ticket in the East Stand. Mark, do you think that means anything? Well, no, but do you think? I mean, where do you? Let's get into the elephant in the room, I guess. Where are your thoughts at this moment in time for the recruitment of a head coach next year? Where do you think we're going to at?
The smart money now appears to have shifted to the NRL scene rather than to Sean Edwards, which is a bit strange. But then again, the whole structure of the club's up for conversation really at the moment. I think kind of it seems like Radlinski's more taken over the day-to-day running of the club, so he's kind of going to step above rugby manager level really now. Is the chief executive really? It feels like on most.
Yeah, we said director of rugby in Kevin Sinfield form.
I have a feeling that's a conversation we might be having down the way, Sean, because this NRL ex-Wigan player kind of link doesn't seem to be going away. In fact, it seems to be gaining momentum. You've even got people talking about it on Sky Television, in the papers. The papers seem to just be writing any name that they can think of, to be honest. There's no substantiating any rumours about Wigan at all in the papers at the moment. It's really winding me up. But I'm starting to move away from the Edwards idea and move on to the Lamb idea. So it's interesting that Edwards was there doing this note-taking stuff that everyone's made a big fuss over, because it suggests maybe there's another role for him somewhere else, or maybe he's still trying to be persuaded that come early, leave that Union World Cup nonsense behind you.
I mean, that's my. I would love Sean Edwards at Wigan. I am the biggest. I'm Sean Edwards' #1 fan. In fact, I think I was named after Sean Edwards. But I don't want him, if he's going to go to the Rugby Union World Cup, I don't want to play a second fiddle. He either comes to 2019. I don't want this. He comes to 2020 and we have somebody holding. That just doesn't work. You can't just have one guy in charge for 12 months. Even if I guess one of the rumours would be perhaps Chris Radlinski might manage things a bit more with helping of an assistant in 2019 to pave the way for Edwards. If Edwards wants the job, then he's got to want it, and he's got to come in 2019, I think. But it's interesting. I think in terms of where the smart money is, I think the best thing I saw on Twitter a few weeks ago was rugby league betting, particularly on managers, is so scarce that you could put a fiver on and the bookies will get a bit nervous, and all of a sudden the odds will shift and they become a favourite. So you could actually influence the market a little bit by just putting £5 on it. So you can't really, I guess, even read into what the bookies are making of it. David, your thoughts on Sean Edwards? Do you read much into him being there last week, and particularly it is this East Stand thing, which is the strangest element of it, I think.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, you're just speaking about the bookies' influence there. Who knows? It might be the greatest bit of trolling of all time, and he might have a fiver on Adrian Lamb for the job, and he might be making a booking out. Take note. I think he was writing his shopping list, wasn't he, for after at Tesco's? Yeah, he's a name synonymous with Wigan, synonymous with success. It'll give the fans a lift, I'm sure, if it's Edwards. But like you said, there's all that doubt around what's he doing rugby union. Is he going to be 12 months? Are they going to get Radlinski in? Is Sean O'Loughlin going to do something? With the first team as well. He's been helping the academy. There's too many names to mention. There's too many sort of different permutations of what could happen with it as well. So I stick your finger in the air. I don't know, but yeah, if Sean Edwards doesn't come, that's a great bit of trolling because he's certainly got people talking on social media.
I think it's quite exciting, actually. I know uncertainty isn't necessarily something to be excited about, but I think the fact that we're linked with all these names, I don't think there's anybody in particular. If we got an Edwards or a Lamb or a Ferner or a Farrell, or these are all exciting names. No matter what the coaching pedigree is, it's just good, I guess, to be linked with that. It could be a lot worse, couldn't it? We could be Leeds and appointing James Laws and hiding behind Kevin Sinfield. Not to bang on that drum again.
Have we looked at the betting recently? If John Winder isn't favourite, then it's more exciting, isn't it? Really, I
haven't. Actually, I think he got suspended at one point on like Coral or somewhere like that, didn't it? Because somebody put like a 50p bet on, and they thought, "Oh, this is getting a bit crazy here." So rugby league, somebody's betting on rugby league. We better close the market. So I haven't actually seen anything of that. Mark, getting back onto Friday before we wrap up with what's happening on Friday. I'm guessing you're going Wigan win. What do you want to see though from Wigan going into the break before the Super 8? Is it about momentum? Is it about positivity? What do you want to see from this Wigan performance?
I want to see physical dominance, and I want to see a second half win on the scoreboard. I've talked about this loads on the Super League pod, a bit with you as well. I think possibly more in person than on the show. But remember the start of the year when we were battering teams physically in the first half, not necessarily winning on the scoreboard because maybe some of our plays weren't coming off or what have you. And everyone was falling in love with what Morgan Escaré was doing in space and what George Williams was doing in space and how Sam Tompkins looked and stuff. But that was all built off the back of Flower and Clubb smashing people in the first 20 minutes and Sutton coming off the bench and continuing that, really. And since Sutton's been out the side and we've kind of messed around with who's going to be the starting props and tried to give Navarrete a go. Not having a go at Navarrete, I've been impressed with him this year.
Be careful, Matt
go alongside either Flower or Clubb to start the game. We've lost a little bit of that physical impetus that we've been putting on teams, and it hasn't mattered then if someone comes off the bench and makes the odd mistake because we've already kind of beaten their guys. Their outside backs against us, outside backs were not making meters in exit sets. That is not the case at the moment. For example, as an example, so that's what I want to see. And then off the back of that platform, our talented guys can tear things up in the second half and maybe win by. I think we'll win by about 8 or 10 points. But
I love that. Our talented guys.
Well, Willie Ice is a great hard-working guy. I've got a lot of respect for the effort he puts in, but he's got no talent in attack. What the hell was he doing not scoring that try in the first half last week? Why did he run at Danny Richardson rather than the huge hole? That sort of stuff. So when you've battered the other team already, you can run at them close to the line and still score a try, like we were doing at the end of games early on when Tony Clubb scored about 4 tries in the first dozen or so games. That's what I want to see anyway. We're going to win about 30 points to 20-ish, I think.
David, if there's anything, we've got Hankinson, I guess, with a bit of less pressure on him. We've got Kabula back in the squad, possibly a home debut for him. We've got Ollie Partington, who may make his debut. Is there anything in particular that you're looking forward to in this game? I know that sounds awful. Yeah. It sounds like it's a dreadful game to go to. But is there anything in particular that you're looking for from Wigan? Is it Hankinson or Kabula or?
Yeah, I think Hankinson certainly give him a game against not lesser opposition, because that's a bit disrespectful to Catalans, but the rest in a few as well. I'm just laughing at Matt's comment to Mark.
That'll be the most pathetic fight I'll ever
seen. Dear me, yeah, but
that'd be total
carnage. Yeah, pretty much. Hankinson, seeing how he goes, I suppose. That should be. We might see a little bit more of what he's capable of in attack as well, and you'd have had a week's more training. Still, the halves troubles me. Still, the halfback combination, it just doesn't seem to be clicking at all. Whichever combination we're trying, it's just too slow. There's no dynamism there, and I'm hoping we can see a little bit more from that. As Mark said, the platform in the first half is something that's been sadly lacking. So, and the halves have not been able to flourish on that because we've been sort of battling our way out of our own half for most of the games. So just some form. We just need to play a bit of decent rugby, and it's last season Cast, this season Saints. Obviously, there seems to be a little bit more attacking flair, which is getting people up the table.
Yeah, I mean, it's shootout rugby at the end of the day, isn't it? At the end of the season, it comes down to 180 minutes, either in the semi-final or the final. So I wouldn't get there's no point beating ourselves over potentially finishing second.
That's a great point you make, David, actually, the point of last season. Can we be the Leeds of last season? Time it just right in terms of whatever might happen. But if you look at it, we've got the background of winning this thing out of that top four, like Leeds did last year. Yeah. So maybe there's an omen in our favour there. I certainly think if we can get some speed back into the attacking play, like you mentioned, David, then there's no reason why we can't do it. I don't think.
I think that's one thing that Sean Wayne and Mark Bitcon in particular are very good at doing, is if they've got times in the season when they know that they can peak and want to peak. Like for me, they always, at the start of the season, they always aim for the Good Friday game to peak. That's always a big game in the calendar. Magic Weekend's always a big one. Obviously, the Challenge Cup games, we won't mention that because I think there's extenuating circumstances this year. But the difference is now we've almost got pressure off. If we win on Friday, we get Cass and Warrington at home, which I think is the most important thing about this result on Friday, is the opportunity to not go to Castleford is something that everybody is desperate for. Even Rob, who lives in Leeds, Mark, I'm sure will be desperate not to go to Castleford. He'd rather come over to Wigan.
No,
that's the most important thing.
No kebab shop near enough to the ground for Rob. That's the most important thing for him.
But that's the important thing. And then we've basically got a 7-game run in to get form to peak at the right time for a semi-final. And that is where my confidence in Sean Wayne, whether it's misplaced or not, we'll find out at the end of the year. But I think that's where Wigan as a coaching staff and a team will be better than other teams at doing that, of managing the squad over the next few games. But I guess we'll find out, won't we, by the end of the season. So just to wrap up, I know I sort of said this last night on Facebook and Twitter. Don asks, are we getting any singing? No, Don. The three of us aren't brave enough or bold enough to do that. We're not the showmen, I'm afraid. We are not. We are just basically Matt's assistants, and Matt is drunk at the moment, so we won't let him on camera. Basically, no, it was his last day at work today, so I don't want sort of his reputation enhancing in any possible way. So Friday night,
not through like getting fired or out. It was
no.
End of term.
It's end of term. Yeah, he's not being fired. If anybody from the club is watching and they've just given me permission to do what we're doing on Friday, he's a teacher. It's the end of term. He's not been sacked or anything like that. Please still let us do it. So on Friday night, me and Matt have been entrusted by the club to do one of these videos during the game. So I'll put more details out. But basically, it's a live vlog. It's not a commentary of the game. Obviously, we'll be talking about the game as it goes through. But if people still want a full commentary on the game, obviously listen to Joe and Bilko on Wish FM. We're not professional commentators, me and Matt. We'll see something in the crowd and probably get carried away by a pigeon or something. So if you want a full commentary on the game, Wish FM's still going to be the place. But the view of it, the aim of it is for people that can't make it to the game, to try and give people a sense of what it's like watching the game, I guess. So you're going to watch us watch the game. So yeah, there we go. Hopefully, if people tune in, it's a trial run. It's one game only. I'm very grateful for the club for allowing us to do that, and hopefully everything works. My biggest concern about Friday night is the strength of the internet and not being able to actually broadcast, but we'll soon find out on Friday night. So please tune in, and I'm sure
I promise not to refresh my phone to get the other results, and that'll give you a little bit more 4G spare.
Yeah, cheers, thank you. If everybody,
none of them matter, do they? No result matters this weekend, really, in the Super League.
We'll be trying to we'll try and pin out who we're going to be playing during the game as well. We'll have a sort of an abacus and a calculator to try and work out who we're playing. David, thank you so much for taking the time for joining us. I know you can't make the game on Friday, so I won't see you then, but we'll see you in a few weeks. Mark, do you want to give us why should people listen to Super League Pod this week? Give us a little bit more of a snippet into why people should tune in.
I've just been thinking this afternoon that we're going to have to do a special show at the weekend about all these transfer deals. So keep an eye on our Twitter feed and stuff like that for that, because I can't put all that news into one show next Monday. I'll be up until I have to go to work, basically. But just it's a great fan interaction show. If you want to not hate all the other fans of all the other clubs, that's what Super League Pod has taught me, to not hate all the other fans of all the other clubs. So if you want to find, someone you can have a beer with when you're at an away game and have a laugh with, Super League Pod will give you that.
Fantastic. If Matt is still watching, I better say this. Matt will be at the game, and he's got four of his books left, and he's bringing them to the game. So save a man a job by not having to take the books back on the train, and you can buy them off him, and he'll probably sign them. And he definitely won't be drunk on Friday, I can assure you of that. And he'll sign them for you. So if anybody wants one of Matt's books, he'll have them on him on Friday. Just find him on Facebook or Twitter or somewhere on here and work out how to get them. So thank you everybody for watching and listening on the podcast.
We didn't get your prediction for the game.
I'm giving all the predictions. I'm late. I just go on. What did you say? 30-20, Mark. What do you think, David?
Something like that.
Yeah, I think it's probably in the 30s. Probably about 30-18.
Well, when I looked before, I've actually been doing some preparation for this on Friday. I'm going to try and come across professional. Wigan averaged 32 points against Catalans over the 35 games or 33 games that they played them against. So I think 30 is about right, isn't it? So if 30 is about right, I'll ignore that. 46-4, I'm going. Well, the 50 point.
Who's getting the 4 McAlorum?
Thornley.
Yeah, Thornley. Yeah, I was looking at Thornley's strike rate for Wigan. Actually, it was pretty good when he was at Wigan. But anyway, I'm going into topics.
Has Navarrete scored yet?
No, and that's something that
this is the chance.
Yeah.
This is the chance. If we're getting 40 odd points, Navarette's banging a try over. That's for sure.
Not
zero
commentary,
obviously.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
He'll be on the pitch.
Zero career tries. If Navarrete scores and I don't hear Matt's commentary on it, I don't think my weekend will be complete.
Yeah, 0 career tries, I think, for Navarrete when I was looking before. I think he's basically the only person across 2 teams, bar the young guys, who hasn't actually scored a try. So yeah, Friday night could be the night. I guess that's our tip, isn't it? Yeah. Wear a turtleneck to the game. Very
pile on any time bet.
Right, thanks a lot, guys. Thanks everybody for watching, and join us on Friday night for a live vlog for Wigan versus Catalans. Thanks, everyone.